Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the absolutely critical story of biodiversity conservation in India, a country that's home to some of the richest and most varied life on the entire planet.
Instead of hitting you with a bunch of data right away, let's just start with a feeling. This is from a traditional Lepcha folk song, and it's just beautiful. It captures this deep, almost musical connection between people and nature. And that relationship, well, it's really at the heart of everything we're talking about today.
That kind of reverence, it really speaks to this deep, intuitive grasp of our planet's complex web of life. It's not just, a random collection of plants and animals. It's all one single, incredible, integrated system.
And the word we have for this system, of course, is biodiversity. It's this mind-boggling richness. We're talking everything from tiny little microbes and lichens all the way up to massive banyan trees and blue whales. And the key is, they're all connected. They all depend on each other.
And here's the thing, we're not just observers, we're part of this web. We completely depend on the system for the silent, constant work it does to keep us alive. It's what gives us the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the very soil that grows our food.
But, and this is a big but, this whole delicate system is under some serious stress, especially in a biodiversity hotspot like India. For way too long, we've kind of taken these resources for granted, and that's created a sort of silent crisis.
Okay, so what does that stress actually look like on the ground? I mean, how bad is it? To really get a handle on the problem, let's zoom in on one of India's most iconic and, sadly, most threatened species.
Just look at these numbers. It's shocking, right? Back in the early 1970s, authorities suddenly realized the tiger population had absolutely crashed. From an estimated 55,000 at the turn of the century, all the way down to just over 1,800. That is a catastrophic drop.
So what happened? Well, it was a perfect storm, really. You had rampant poaching, driven by the illegal trade in skins and the use of their bones. At the exact same time, their homes were shrinking, their food sources were disappearing, and the human population was expanding, pushing them into smaller and smaller areas.
This was a massive wake-up call. It was a crisis that sparked a huge, top-down response from the government. It was obvious that if they didn't do something drastic and do it fast, some of India's most amazing species were just going to be gone forever.
So it all started with the Landmark Wildlife Act in 1972, and right after that came Project Tiger. But what's really fascinating here is watching how the thinking evolved over time. They started with the big, charismatic animals, but then, they added hundreds of insects, butterflies, beetles, and finally, in 1991, plants. It shows this growing understanding that you have to protect the whole system.
So the game plan was pretty straightforward. Set up national parks and sanctuaries to give animals a safe place to live, ban the hunting of endangered species, and crack down hard on the illegal wildlife trade. It was an absolutely essential first step.
But this is where it gets really interesting. It raises this huge question. Can you really save an ecosystem just with laws from on high, when that very ecosystem is home to people and communities? Because while all this national-level stuff was going on, a completely different and just as powerful story was unfolding on the ground.
See, in many parts of India, local communities started to realize that their own futures were on the line. So they began organizing themselves to protect their own environments, sometimes with government help, and sometimes, without it.
And this slide, wow, it really lays it all out. You've got these two parallel worlds of conservation. On one side, the official government approach, national parks, centralized laws, a big focus on one species, like the tiger. And on the other, this community-led model, with its own locally declared sanctuaries, its own rules, and a focus on protecting the entire forest.
Let me give you an incredible example of this. In Rajasthan, the people in 5 villages didn't wait around for the government. They just went ahead and declared 1,200 hectares of forest as their own sanctuary, the Bhairo Dev Dakar Sanctuary. And they made their own rules to protect the wildlife from any outsiders.
And this wasn't a one-off thing. You see this spirit all over India. There's the famous Chipko movement, where people literally hugged trees to stop them from being cut down. You have the revival of ancient traditions like sacred groves, where forests are protected because they're seen as the homes of gods. And in Bishnoi villages, animals like the black buck are treated like members of the family. No one would ever harm them.
So this brings us to the million-dollar question, right? What happens when you bring these two incredibly powerful approaches together, the top-down government strategy and the bottom-up people's movement? The answer just might be the key to the whole future of conservation.
Well, it's actually happening through something called Joint Forest Management, or JFM. This idea first got official backing in the state of Odisha way back in 1988, and it's all about creating a real partnership.
So how's it work? It's actually a pretty smart partnership. Local communities get organized, and they take on the job of protecting and restoring degraded forest land. And in return for that hard work, they get a direct stake in the outcome. They get benefits, like being able to collect non-timber forest products, which is a huge deal.
So, when you look at the whole picture, both how environments get destroyed and how they get rebuilt in India, the lesson is crystal clear. For any of this to work long-term, local communities have to be involved. They have to be at the center of it all.
And maybe the best way to think about the path forward is to look back at this timeless wisdom from Gautama Buddha. It's such a powerful reminder of nature's endless generosity and our profound responsibility to be its guardians, not just its users. It really leaves you with a question, doesn't it? How can we all do a better job of fulfilling that role?